Imagine coming home early and realizing the one person you trusted with your house, your peace, and your family was the very reason your home stopped feeling safe. David Mitchell thought he was building a good life, 3 restaurants, money, stability. But in one quiet afternoon, he walked through his own front door and discovered the kind of truth that shatters a parent to their core. A truth he wasn't prepared for, a truth he will never forget. What he heard in that kitchen changed everything. But that is life. Sometimes you discover the truth when you are not looking for it. Hello friends, welcome to our story. And if you're a parent, this is the part of the story you pray you never live through. Before we start, please like this video and subscribe. Also, tell us in the comments where are you watching from. Texas, Canada, maybe Australia or the United Kingdom. We want to know. David Mitchell was a very successful man. He owned 3 restaurants in downtown Seattle and was always busy. From morning until late at night he worked. His restaurants were famous. People came from all over the city to eat his food. Celebrities visited his restaurants. Food critics wrote good reviews. Money was never a problem for David. But time was always the problem. David lived in a beautiful house in the suburbs. The house had a big garden with roses and a swimming pool that sparkled blue in the summer sun. Inside, everything was expensive. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, leather furniture imported from Italy. It was the kind of house people drove past slowly, admiring from the street. But despite all the beauty and wealth, something was missing. The house felt empty, cold, like a hotel, not a home. David's daughter was named Lily. She was 7 years old with curly blonde hair and green eyes like her mother. Her mother, Jennifer, had died 2 years ago in a car accident. It happened so suddenly. One day Jennifer was there, laughing and making breakfast. The next day she was gone forever. David tried his best after Jennifer died. But grief is a heavy thing. It sits on your chest and makes everything difficult. He threw himself into work because work was easier than sitting at home remembering all that he had lost. The restaurants became his escape. But Lily needed her father. She needed someone to talk to, someone to hold her when she had nightmares about her mother. She needed someone to help with homework and braid her hair and tell her bedtime stories. David knew this. Deep in his heart he knew. But he convinced himself that as long as Lily had everything she needed, food, clothes, toys, a nice home, everything would be fine. He told himself he was doing his best. He was working hard to provide for his daughter. That was what good fathers did, right? Wrong. 6 months ago, David hired a nanny. Her name was Patricia Lang. She was 45 years old with short brown hair and a warm smile. When she came for the interview, she seemed perfect. "I have 15 years of experience with children," Patricia said, sitting in David's living room. "I raised my own 2 kids. Both are in college now. I love children. I treat them like my own." David asked her questions. What would you do if Lily refused to eat dinner? What would you do if she had a tantrum? How would you handle bedtime? Patricia had good answers for everything. She was calm, patient, professional. She had references from 3 different families, all saying she was wonderful. "Lily needs structure," Patricia said. "Children need rules and routine. But they also need love and kindness. I can give her both." David was relieved. Finally, someone who could take care of his daughter while he worked. Someone with experience. Someone he could trust. He was wrong about that too. Patricia started working the next Monday. First, everything seemed fine. David would leave for work at 6 in the morning. Patricia would arrive at 7 to wake Lily and get her ready for school. After school, Patricia would pick up Lily, help with homework, make dinner, and stay until David came home, usually around 9 at night. Lily seemed okay. She didn't complain. She ate her meals. She did her homework. She went to bed on time. David thought everything was perfect. Patricia sent him text messages every day with updates. "Lily ate all her vegetables tonight," or "Lily got an A on her spelling test." The messages made David feel better. Made him feel like he was still connected to his daughter's life even when he was busy at the restaurants. But he didn't see what was really happening. He didn't see the fear in Lily's eyes when Patricia's smile disappeared the moment he left the house. He didn't see how his daughter flinched when Patricia came near. He didn't see the bruises on Lily's arms that Patricia made sure to hide under long sleeves. He didn't see because he wasn't there. And Patricia knew that. Patricia was very careful. She never hurt Lily where the marks would show. She twisted Lily's arm behind her back when she didn't eat fast enough. She grabbed Lily's hair and pulled hard when she didn't clean her room properly. She pinched Lily's inner thighs, places David would never see. When Lily asked too many questions about her mother, "Your mother is dead because she didn't listen," Patricia would whisper in Lily's ear, "If you don't listen to me, bad things will happen to you too." Lily was terrified. She wanted to tell her father, but Patricia had warned her. "If you tell your father, he will send you away. He's too busy for you. He doesn't want you. That's why he hired me. If you make trouble, he will send you to an orphanage where children sleep on cold floors and eat moldy bread. Is that what you want?" So Lily stayed quiet. She became smaller and quieter every day. She stopped smiling. She stopped talking about her day at school. She stopped asking her father to play with her. David noticed that Lily seemed sad, but he thought it was still grief about her mother. He didn't realize it was fear of the woman he had brought into their home. One Wednesday afternoon, something happened that would change everything. David's head chef called in sick. The lunch rush was coming, and David's assistant manager was on vacation. David had no choice. He had to go to the restaurant himself to cover the shift. But by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the lunch rush was over. The restaurant was quiet. His staff could handle the rest of the day without him. David decided to go home early. It was rare, almost unheard of. But he thought maybe he could surprise Lily. Maybe they could spend the afternoon together. Maybe they could do something fun for once. He didn't call ahead. He didn't text Patricia to tell her he was coming. He just got in his car and drove home, thinking about the smile that might light up Lily's face when she saw him. The house looked peaceful when he pulled into the driveway. The afternoon sun made the windows glow gold. Everything looked normal, perfect, beautiful. David parked his car and walked to the front door. He used his key to open it quietly, not wanting to make too much noise in case Lily was doing homework. The moment he stepped inside, he heard it, a sound that made his blood turn cold. It was Lily. She was crying. Not soft crying, but loud, gasping sobs. The kind of crying that comes from real pain. David's heart started pounding. He dropped his keys on the floor and ran toward the sound. It was coming from the kitchen. When he reached the kitchen doorway, he stopped. What he saw made him freeze in absolute horror. Patricia had Lily pinned against the kitchen counter. One hand was gripping Lily's arm so hard that her fingers were digging into the child's skin, leaving red marks. Patricia's other hand was raised, ready to slap Lily across the face. Lily's face was already red and streaked with tears. Her green eyes were wide with terror. Her whole body was shaking. "I told you to drink your milk," Patricia was saying, her voice cold and hard. Nothing like the warm, kind voice David had heard during the interview. "You will drink every drop, you spoiled little brat, or I will make you sorry." On the counter was a glass of milk. It had spilled, and white liquid dripped onto the floor. David's mind couldn't process what he was seeing. This woman, the woman he had trusted with his daughter's life, was hurting her. The bruising grip, the raised hand, the terror in Lily's eyes. Something exploded inside David. A rage so fierce and powerful that he couldn't control it. "Get your hands off my daughter." His voice came out like thunder. Low, dangerous, shaking with fury. Patricia's head snapped around. When she saw David standing there, her face went completely white. For just a second, raw fear flashed in her eyes. Then she let go of Lily and stepped back quickly, her expression changing. She forced a smile, tried to look calm. "Mr. Mitchell," she said, her voice suddenly light and friendly. "I didn't hear you come in. We were just having a little discussion about drinking milk. Lily spilled her glass and I saw what you were doing," David said, his voice deadly quiet now. "I saw everything." He walked past Patricia and knelt down beside Lily. His daughter was trembling, tears streaming down her face, her arm red where Patricia had gripped it. "Baby," David said gently, his voice completely different now. Come here. Come to Daddy. Lily threw herself into his arms, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. She clung to him like she was drowning, and he was the only thing keeping her afloat. David held her tight, one hand stroking her hair, the other supporting her small back. Over her shoulder, he looked at Patricia. His eyes were filled with a cold, controlled fury that made Patricia take another step back. Mr. Mitchell, I can explain, Patricia started, but David cut her off. Don't, he said, his voice like ice. Don't say another word. He stood up, still holding Lily in his arms. She buried her face in his neck, her small hands gripping his shirt. How long? David asked Patricia. How long have you been hurting my daughter? Patricia's mouth opened, then closed. She looked around like she was searching for an escape. I would never, I was just trying to discipline her. She needs structure and… How long? David's voice rose now, echoing through the kitchen. Lily whispered against his neck, so quiet he almost didn't hear. Since the beginning, Daddy. Since the first week. David felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. 6 months. This woman had been hurting his daughter for 6 months, and he hadn't known, hadn't seen it, hadn't protected her. He looked at Patricia, and for the first time in his life, David Mitchell wanted to hurt someone. Really hurt them. But he had his daughter in his arms, and she was more important than his anger. Get out of my house, David said, his voice shaking now. Get out right now, or I will call the police and have you arrested. Mr. Mitchell, please, let me just explain. Patricia tried again, taking a step forward. Don't come near us, David warned, holding Lily tighter. Don't come one step closer. Patricia must have seen something in his eyes, something dangerous, because she stopped, her face twisted with anger now that her act was failing. Fine, she spat. You want to know the truth? Your daughter is a spoiled, disobedient little brat. She cries about her dead mother every single day. She refuses to listen. She needs discipline. Someone had to teach her. David stared at her, unable to believe what he was hearing. She's 7 years old. She lost her mother. She needed love and kindness, and you hurt her. I did what you were too weak to do, Patricia said coldly. You're too busy making money to raise your own child properly. Those words hit David like a slap, because part of him knew they were true. He had been too busy. He had left his daughter alone with a monster. Get out, David said again, his voice breaking now. Get out of my house before I do something I'll regret. Patricia grabbed her purse from the counter and walked toward the door. As she passed, she muttered, You'll regret firing me. That child will run all over you without proper discipline. The door slammed behind her. The sound echoed through the empty house. David stood there in the kitchen, still holding his daughter, listening to Patricia's car start and drive away. Only then did his legs give out. He sank down onto the kitchen floor, his back against the cabinet, still cradling Lily in his arms. I'm so sorry, baby, David whispered, tears streaming down his face now. I'm so sorry. I should have known. I should have protected you. Lily pulled back just enough to look at his face. Her green eyes, so much like her mother's, were red and swollen from crying. She said if I told you, you would send me away, Lily whispered. She said you didn't want me. She said that's why you were always gone. David's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. No, baby, that's not true. I love you more than anything in this world. I was wrong to be gone so much. I was wrong about everything. But I promise you, I will never let anyone hurt you again. He held her tighter, rocking her gently as she cried. They sat there on the kitchen floor together for a long time. The spilled milk dried on the counter. The afternoon sun moved across the floor. And David made a silent promise to his daughter and to his wife's memory. He would do better. He would be better. Starting right now. After what felt like hours but was probably only 30 minutes. Lily's crying finally quieted. She was exhausted, her body limp against David's chest. Let me see your arm, David said gently. Lily pulled back and showed him. There were dark red marks where Patricia's fingers had gripped her. They would turn into bruises by tomorrow. David felt rage boiling in his chest again, but he pushed it down. Right now, Lily needed him to be calm, to be strong, to be the father he should have been all along. "Does it hurt anywhere else?" David asked, keeping his voice soft. Lily nodded slowly. She pulled up her sleeve, and David saw more bruises on her upper arm. Some were fresh and red. Others were yellow and green, healing from previous attacks. "Where else, baby?" David asked, though he wasn't sure he could handle the answer. Lily showed him bruises on her legs, hidden under her pants. She showed him a bald spot on the back of her head where Patricia had pulled out her hair. She showed him marks on her back. With each new injury David discovered, his guilt grew heavier. How had he not seen this? How had he been so blind? "Why didn't you tell me?" David asked, then immediately regretted it. He knew why. Patricia had terrified her. "I'm sorry. You don't have to answer that." "I was scared," Lily whispered. "She said nobody would believe me. She said you would think I was lying because I wanted attention. She said you already didn't want me because you were always working." David pulled Lily close again. "I'm so sorry I made you feel that way. I'm sorry I wasn't here. I'm sorry I didn't see what was happening. But I believe you, Lily. I believe every word. And you were never, ever a burden to me. I love you so much." He picked her up and carried her to the living room. He sat on the couch with her still in his arms, not wanting to let her go. He was afraid if he put her down, she might disappear, or he might wake up and realize this was all a nightmare. But it wasn't a nightmare. It was real, and he had to face it. "I need to take some pictures," David said gently, "of the bruises. For the police." Lily tensed up. "The police?" "Yes, baby. What Patricia did was wrong. It was illegal. She hurt you, and she has to be punished so she can never hurt another child." "Will I have to talk to them?" Lily's voice was small and scared. "Maybe," David said honestly. "But I'll be with you the whole time. Promise. And we'll also go see a doctor to make sure you're okay." Lily nodded slowly. She was so tired, so broken. But there was a tiny bit of relief in her eyes. The secret was out. She didn't have to carry it alone anymore. David pulled out his phone and carefully took photos of every bruise, every mark, every injury. Each photo felt like a punch to his gut. Then he called the police. The police arrived 20 minutes later. 2 officers, a woman named Officer Martinez and a man named Officer Johnson. They were kind and gentle with Lily, but David could see the anger in their eyes when they saw the bruises. Officer Martinez knelt down to Lily's level. "Hi, Lily. My name is Officer Martinez. Can you tell me what happened?" At first, Lily was too scared to talk. But David held her hand, and slowly, the words started coming out. She told them about Patricia's cruelty. The hitting, the pinching, the hair pulling. The cruel words. The threats. The fear. Officer Martinez wrote everything down. Officer Johnson examined the bruises and took his own photos. "This is clear evidence of child abuse," Officer Johnson said to David. "We're going to issue an arrest warrant for Patricia Lang immediately." "Good," David said, his jaw tight. "We'll also need to contact Child Protective Services," Officer Martinez said gently. "It's standard procedure in cases like this." David felt panic rise in his chest. "Are they going to take Lily away from me?" "No," Officer Martinez said quickly. "You did the right thing. You protected your daughter as soon as you found out. But CPS will need to interview both of you and make sure Lily is safe now. It's just procedure." David nodded, relief flooding through him. After the police left, David called his doctor. Dr. Sarah Chen had been their family doctor for years. She agreed to see them immediately, even though her office hours were over. At the doctor's office, Dr. Chen examined Lily carefully. She documented every injury, took more photos, and checked for any serious damage. "Physically, she'll heal," Dr. Chen said to David privately while Lily was getting dressed in the exam room. "The bruises will fade. But the emotional trauma, that's going to take longer. I strongly recommend you find a good child therapist." "I will," David promised. Whatever she needs. Dr. Chun looked at him with kind but serious eyes. David, I'm going to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Did you know this was happening? No, David said, shame flooding through him. I was working too much. I wasn't paying attention. I trusted Patricia completely. I failed my daughter. The fact that you're recognizing that is important, Dr. Chun said. But going forward, Lily needs you present. Not just physically, but emotionally. She needs to know she's your priority. She is, David said firmly. From now on, she is. That night, David made Lily her favorite dinner, mac and cheese with chicken nuggets. He sat with her at the table, really sat with her, and they ate together slowly. Lily only ate a few bites. Her stomach was still upset from all the stress. But David didn't push her. He just stayed close, talking softly, making her laugh with silly jokes. After dinner, they sat on the couch together. David put on Lily's favorite movie, but she wasn't really watching. She kept looking at the door like Patricia might come back. She's not coming back, David said gently, reading her thoughts. I promise you, baby, she can never come near you again. What if she's mad? Lily whispered. What if she tries to hurt us? The police are looking for her right now, David said. And tomorrow we're going to get something called a restraining order. It's a legal paper that says she's not allowed to come near you. If she tries, she'll go to jail. Lily nodded, but David could see she was still scared. Trust, once broken, doesn't heal quickly. Can I sleep in your room tonight? Lily asked, her voice so small. Of course, David said. You can sleep in my room every night if you want. That night, Lily slept in David's big bed, curled up next to him. David didn't sleep at all. He just watched his daughter breathe, making sure she was safe, making sure she was real. And he made plans, big plans. He was going to change everything. The next morning, David made 2 phone calls before Lily woke up. The first was to his assistant manager at the restaurants. Tom, I need you to take over, David said. I'm taking an extended leave of absence. Family emergency. How long? Tom asked, concern in his voice. However long it takes, David said. Weeks, maybe months. I'm not sure yet, but I trust you can handle it. Of course, Tom said. Is everything okay? It will be, David said. I'm making sure of that. The second call was to a child therapist his doctor had recommended. Dr. Lisa Warren specialized in trauma in children. She agreed to see Lily that very afternoon. When Lily woke up, David was sitting on the edge of the bed waiting for her. Good morning, sweetheart. Lily rubbed her eyes. Morning, Daddy. How did you sleep? Better, Lily said. I didn't have nightmares. Good, David said, smiling. Today we're going to go see someone, a therapist. Her name is Dr. Warren, and she helps kids who have been through hard times. What will we talk about? Lily asked nervously. Whatever you want, David said. She's there to help you feel better, and I'll be with you if you want me there. Lily thought about it, then nodded. Okay. Dr. Warren's office was warm and colorful. There were toys and books and soft chairs. Dr. Warren herself was a kind woman in her 50s with gray hair and a gentle smile. Hello, Lily, she said when they arrived. I'm so glad to meet you. Do you want to come inside and talk for a bit? Lily looked at David. Can Daddy come? Of course, Dr. Warren said. For the first session, parents usually join us. Inside the office, Dr. Warren didn't push Lily to talk. She just let her play with the toys and get comfortable. After a while, she asked gentle questions. Your dad told me you had someone taking care of you who wasn't very nice. Is that right? Lily nodded, playing with a stuffed bear. That must have been really scary. Lily nodded again. Do you feel safe now? Dr. Warren asked. Lily looked at David, who was sitting nearby. Then she looked back at Dr. Warren. I think so, but I'm still scared sometimes. That's completely normal, Dr. Warren said. When someone hurts us, especially someone we're supposed to trust, it takes time to feel safe again. But the good news is you can feel safe again. It just takes time and work. They talked for an hour. Dr. Warren gave Lily tools to use when she felt scared. She gave David advice on how to help Lily heal. By the end of the session, Lily seemed a little lighter. "I'd like to see Lily twice a week for a while," Dr. Warren said to David privately. "She's been through a trauma. It's going to take time to process." "Whatever she needs," David said. "Money isn't an issue." "I'm glad to hear that," Dr. Warren said. "But what Lily needs most isn't money. It's you. Your time, your attention, your presence. That's what will heal her." David nodded. He was beginning to understand that. 3 days later, Patricia was arrested. She was at her apartment when the police showed up. According to Officer Martinez, who called David with the update, Patricia acted shocked and offended. "She claimed she never hurt Lily," Officer Martinez said. "She said you were lying to get out of paying her severance. But we have the photos, we have the doctor's report, and we have Lily's testimony." Patricia Lang is being charged with multiple counts of child abuse. "Good," David said. "Will there be a trial?" "Probably," Officer Martinez said. "Her lawyer will likely try to get a plea deal. But either way, she won't be working with children ever again. We've also reported her to the state licensing board. Her background check will show the arrest." David felt a grim satisfaction. Patricia would face consequences. But more importantly, she couldn't hurt any other children. Over the next few weeks, David's life changed completely. He didn't go back to work. He spent every day with Lily. They had breakfast together, took walks together, did art projects together. They went to therapy together twice a week. David learned things about his daughter he'd never known. He learned that she loved drawing horses. He learned that her favorite color was purple, not pink like he'd thought. He learned that she was afraid of thunderstorms and loved chocolate ice cream. He also learned how deeply Patricia's abuse had affected her. Lily flinched whenever someone raised their voice. She had nightmares several times a week. She was terrified of being left alone. But slowly, very slowly, she was healing. The fear in her eyes was beginning to fade. She was starting to smile again, starting to laugh. One evening, about a month after Patricia was arrested, Lily came to David with a drawing she'd made. It showed two people holding hands, a tall person and a small person. Above them was a sun and a rainbow. "That's us," Lily said shyly. "That's you and me." David felt tears spring to his eyes. "It's beautiful, baby. Can I hang it in my office?" Lily nodded, smiling. David hung the drawing on his office wall, right where he could see it every day. It reminded him of what really mattered. Not the restaurants, not the money, not the success. Just this, his daughter, safe and healing and learning to trust again. 2 months later, Patricia Lang's trial date arrived. David and Lily didn't have to attend. The prosecutor said their statements and the evidence were enough. But David wanted to go. He wanted to see justice served. Lily stayed home with a babysitter, a kind older woman named Helen who Dr. Warren had recommended. David had been very careful this time. He'd checked references, done background checks, and spent weeks getting to know Helen before letting her watch Lily alone. At the courthouse, David sat in the gallery and watched as Patricia was led in. She looked different, thinner, older, harder. When she saw David, her eyes filled with hatred. The trial lasted 3 days. Witnesses testified. The doctor showed photos of Lily's injuries. Officer Martinez described the scene she'd found when she arrived at David's house. Patricia's lawyer tried to argue that it was all a misunderstanding, that Patricia had only used appropriate discipline. But the evidence was overwhelming. On the 3rd day, the jury deliberated for only 2 hours. When they returned, the forewoman stood up. On the count of child abuse in the 1st degree, we find the defendant guilty. David felt relief wash over him like a wave. Justice. Finally, Patricia was sentenced to 5 years in prison. She would also be permanently barred from working with children. When the judge read the sentence, Patricia started crying and screaming, claiming it was unfair, claiming David had ruined her life. But David felt no pity. She had hurt his daughter. She deserved every day of that sentence. After the trial, David drove home slowly, thinking about everything that had happened. So much pain, so much fear, so much guilt, but also so much healing, so much love, so much hope. When he got home, Lily ran to greet him. "Daddy, you're home." David scooped her up in his arms. "I'm home, baby, and I'm not leaving. Ever?" Lily asked. "Ever," David promised. That night, they had dinner together, played board games, and read bedtime stories. It was simple, ordinary, and absolutely perfect. As David tucked Lily into bed, she looked up at him with those green eyes that reminded him so much of Jennifer. "Daddy, are you happy?" she asked. David thought about it. 6 months ago, he would have said he was successful, but he wouldn't have said he was happy. Now, with his restaurants barely on his mind and his bank account getting smaller, he was happier than he'd been in years. "Yes, sweetheart," David said, kissing her forehead. "I'm very happy." "Me too," Lily said, smiling. "I love you, Daddy. I love you too, baby. More than anything in this whole world." David turned off the light and left the door cracked open, just how Lily liked it. He walked downstairs to his office and looked at the drawing hanging on his wall. 2 people holding hands, a sun and a rainbow. He thought about Jennifer, about how proud she would be that he'd finally gotten his priorities straight. He thought about Patricia, locked in a prison cell where she belonged. He thought about the restaurants, still running successfully even without him there every day. But mostly he thought about Lily, safe, healing, loved. That was all that mattered. David Mitchell had learned the hardest lesson a parent can learn, that being present is more important than being successful. That love is measured in time, not money. That protecting your child means actually being there to see when they need protection. He had almost lost everything that mattered. But he hadn't, and he never would again. I hope you enjoyed this story. Like, share, and comment on the lessons you've learned. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments below.